Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing an unwrapping and first look of the Filipino-made Manila Ice boxing gloves. So check it out. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm super excited to bring you guys an unwrapping and first look of the Filipino-made Manila Ice boxing gloves. Now, these are the very first pair of gloves I've ever purchased and will be using that is actually handmade in the Philippines. Now, I've reached out to other companies in the past, and hopefully going forward I'll have more success with them. Companies like Payatong Sports, which is another company that makes boxing equipment in the Philippines. But the issue I've been running into is the transactional part of it. And I find that some of these companies don't have a means of e-commerce like Venmo. They don't actually have like a way to transfer money from here in the United States overseas like Venmo, PayPal. So it's really hard to get that portion done. And then obviously you would have to pay international shipping and sometimes customs charges, just depending on where you're located. But for me, the cost of it wasn't important to me. It was just being able to get my hands on a pair Filipino-made boxing gloves, which are a representation of the Filipino culture, which I feel that hasn't been represented when it comes to boxing equipment. And we all know the tradition and the heritage of the Philippines as well as the Filipino boxing community. Obviously, we know Manny Pacquiao, we know Nonito Donaire, we know all of these popular Filipino figures. But typically, when you think about boxing gloves, you think about a lot of these American brands. And a vast majority of them are made in Pakistan, and then obviously you have the brands like Cleto Reyes that are made in Mexico, a lot of these Mexican-made brands. So I was really excited for this. So without me talking anymore, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this bag open so you can see what these gloves look like. I got this, I believe, in a white and a blue from what I recall, 16 ounces of Velcro closure. If you guys know about the Philippines and Balikbayan, you guys know about LBC, so that's one of their main logistic companies they use to ship goods to. If a lot of times people here in the United States will send a big balikbayan box of goods back home to the Philippines, and it's probably similar to a lot of other minority cultures like in Mexico, where you send a lot of your goods back to your family back in Mexico. And it's kind of the same thing with the Philippines, where we pack a whole box of goods, clothing, food, all kinds of stuff, and send it back home. That way they can get that stuff from here in the United States. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this open. This is a bag, so I need to be careful not to rip into the gloves themselves. But hopefully I can actually just use my fingers. Got that bag open. And here it is. They are saran wrapped, so yep, white and blue. And kind of have that Manila Ice logo with the mountains, and it looks like a boxer. Let me see if I can try to cut this open without obviously cutting into the gloves. That will be the last thing I would want to do. They wrap these up real nicely. I mean, there's a ton of saran wrap on here, so I don't really know what to expect in terms of the quality of these gloves, to be honest with you. Like I said, this is the very first company I've ever purchased from that makes gloves in the Philippines. So this will be kind of the very first time we'll ever see how these gloves compare to what's out there. So, I'll take that with a grain of salt, so to speak, just because, again, we don't really have something to kind of benchmark it to in terms of like other Filipino brands. Now, we could benchmark it to, regular boxing gear that we've always seen. Rival, Title Boxing, Grant, Reyes, and all that. So, but I guess we'll really see here. And they just put a ton of saran wrap on here. So you guys, please bear with me. I'm trying to cut this open and not screw these gloves up. There's a ton of saran wrap. Okay, I think I got it. Put this knife away. I have a bad habit of cutting myself. So here is the left glove. White leather, white and blue leather, Velcro strap. My first impressions of it, just looking at it, looks like a really big glove size-wise. The leather actually really doesn't have too much of a a strong smell to it. It's definitely genuine leather, and has more of a supple feel, but seems to be really nice quality. Let's go ahead and get the right glove out. Get it out of this damn plastic wrap. I guess that's a good thing. I shouldn't complain about something being wrapped up nicely. Okay, here we are. So here they are, 16 ounces, white blue, with kind of like a light gold, almost like silver. It's not really silver or gold. It's almost like silver gold for the piping. It says Manila Ice right there. It says 16 ounces. More of this plastic wrap, which kind of, oh, that sucks. Okay, first boo-boo right there. So, word up to Manila Ice, when you guys package this, don't put the saran wrap on here anymore, because what happens is it actually peeled the logo off because the saran wrap stuck to it. So again, just something that obviously it's aesthetics, the logo, but that's important. So make sure you guys either use better logos that adheres better to the leather, or use something else instead of the saran wrap. And you can actually see the saran wrap actually peeled up the logo. Thankfully, it didn't do it to my left glove. But yeah, I mean, looking at the glove, overall the quality looks really solid. I noticed a couple areas that some of the stitching could be a little bit better. You can see kind of like a thread popping a little bit right there. The leather itself actually has kind of a thicker, more rigid feel to it, and it does have a texture to it. The white looks really good. I believe they use a multi-layer foam padding, which seems to be right kind of in the middle in terms of density. It's not like super soft like a puncher's glove, but it's not ultra like solid and firm, like rock solid, like molded foam. So it feels like it's right in the middle. To be honest with you, these gloves kind of remind me of the French-made brand Rock Kick boxing gloves. You guys may have seen my review last year of those, which saw gloves well, but for some reason, just the shape and the kind of leather they use kind of reminds me of the Rock Kick gloves. And then you have the thumb seam right there. The blue looks really good as well. The blue leather is different than the white leather. It's more, it has more of a satin smooth finish, where the white leather is a little bit more grainy, a grainier feel to it. It says Manila Ice. That full pad of Velcro on the Velcro strap. And then coming to the palm side, you can see it kind of comes up and it tapers up. The wrist padding, I'd say, is about an inch on the back of the wrist. It does feel a little bit top heavy on this glove, so I feel like they could have done a little bit better with distributing the weight. I mean, it's not ultra floppy, but you can definitely tell the weight is distributed a little bit more towards the front. The padding is a little on the soft side on the back of the wrist. They do use a satin nylon liner on the inside, right there. Some of the stitching could have been done a little bit better in the liner right there. Some of the stitching is kind of peeling a little bit. Another thing I noticed is that they actually put the elastic a little bit lower. I don't think I've ever seen that on a pair of Velcro gloves before, where the elastic is this low. It's typically upright in this section, but on here, it's a little bit lower. The stitching is actually really nice. They do a really clean job with the lines of the stitching. You have ventilated holes on the palm and the thumb that are functional. The grip bar feels really good. It's nice and dense and noticeable right there. And then you also have this white attached thumb right there as well. So piping on the inner thumb looks clean, and the stitching looks good as well. One thing you'll notice about the attached thumb is on the inside you can actually see the grain of the leather. It's almost like suede. And on the outside, the top of the attached thumb, it's the white. So there you have it. You have the hinge point right here. That looks pretty good. So that's the right glove. And let's check out the left glove. Again, looks really good. Again, more of a larger glove. I mean, I wonder if I have anything around here to show you guys. I don't have anything right now here in the garage, but again, the leather looks really clean, more of a rigid look. Definitely different than the one that you use on the palm, the blue. So pretty good. So let's go ahead and slide these on, see how they feel, my initial impressions of the hand compartment. All right, so that's nice and deep. Okay, so got the right glove on. Actually, before I put the left glove on, let me just kind of feel the right. Okay, so the first thing I notice is the liner feels good. There's no bunching up on the inside. The wrist support feels actually really nice as well. The finger compartment is actually nice and deep. It's a deep finger compartment, and they do a good job of actually rolling the leather and covering it with the liner, so you don't feel like the stitching is actually rubbing against the inside part of your finger. Nice and deep, you can make a good fist. It's a little stiff off the bat, so it's going to take time to break these in. They're not ultra stiff, but they're not super soft and broken in either. So it's going to take some time with sweating these, breaking them in, hitting them on the bag to break it in. The thumb is a little awkward. So one thing is this piping right here. Obviously I don't have hand wraps on. I foresee that's going to be a little bit of an issue with numbing of the thumb. I feel that the thumb is a little bit further down. I think it needs to be pulled in a little bit more inwards and a little bit higher to kind of match the ergonomics of the natural fist position. I feel like it's a little too far out with that. I mean, you can actually see it right there. It kind of flares out a little bit. And it kind of reminds me of like an old school Reyes glove. And obviously Reyes has changed over the years and kind of evolved the shape of the thumb of their glove. But I feel like it kind of flares out a little bit, and I'm kind of concerned on how that's going to affect how I make a fist in when I'm using these when I'm training. But when you make a fist, the thumb actually is long enough. I don't feel like it jams when you make a fist, so that's a good thing. I just feel like it kind of flares out a little bit too much on this glove. Go ahead and put on the left glove. Put on the Velcro strap. All right, so that looks really good as well. Another thing with the aesthetics, you'll see the patch right there. It says Manila Ice. You can see the stitching a little off. So the way they stitch it, the patch at the back of the Velcro strap could have been done cleaner. And you can see right here, it's a little crooked too. So, you know, again, just a little attention to details. Obviously, this aesthetic's not going to affect the performance of the glove, but again, we're just being nitpicky. Again, the wrist support feels really good on the left glove. A nice deep finger compartment. You can make a nice tight fist with the glove. Will take a little bit of breaking in. But my biggest takeaway from this is going to be the thumb, the comfort of the thumb, especially with my hand wraps on. The gloves are kind of deceiving in the fact that they look really big, but the room on the inside is more on the snug side. So it's not a roomy glove by any means. So it's not like your hands can just kind of swim in here. I really don't have much room for my hand to move sideways, which is a good thing, or front to back. So there's not a lot of room like some Mexican style gloves like the Casanovas, where you just have this huge like void between your knuckles and the inner foam of the glove. With this, you don't have that. So it's a little deceiving in terms of the size of the glove. But my initial thoughts, I guess key points if you want to call it, with this glove is obviously going to be the logo. So you can see the logo peeled on this glove right here. So making sure that when they ship it, they don't put anything over this logo. Maybe if they put like a piece of cloth before they wrapped it in saran wrap so it didn't stick to the saran wrap. The stitching could be done better. There's a couple threads popping up. You can see right there on the thumb, that little black thread popping up. I think they need to modify the thumbs a little bit. The leather quality is really nice. So, I mean, they're doing a nice job with the leather. The wrist support feels really good. I just feel like the wrist support together with the structure of the glove needs to be a little bit more rigid. I mean, you get a good amount of padding there. It's just too soft on the inside of the wrist. So a little bit more rigid padding. That way the glove doesn't flop down forward. And I would say the logo, just the attention to detail, the small things like the logo being stitched on and not being crooked with the stitching would definitely go a long way. But overall, I'm really impressed with these gloves. Depending on where you're at, currency wise, you know, you're looking at probably anywhere between like $130 to $150 for these gloves. You know, with shipping, after you do the conversion and everything, from Philippine pesos to US dollars, you're looking about $130, $150, which is not a bad price. I mean, you're getting a rare glove that, you know, really nobody has outside of the Philippines. And I think the quality is nice. I just think the small details that just need to be perfected, and they definitely have a winner here. Again, these gloves, if I were to compare to anything, not that it helps because Rockkick is a relatively smaller brand as well. but they kind of remind me of those French-made Rocket boxing gloves, which sell for anywhere between like $400 to $500. So I mean, if you're looking in that kind of range of quality, or range of glove, then that's really nice. But the leather's great. Just a little details that need to be perfected. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Manila Ice boxing gloves, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.